Are we live? Yeah, we're live. Cool. Yay, bro, Plata. Talking about Jack Hermansson. He is the man. I wish he would come out one time. Now you're a man from Orgasmo. I think that would be fun.
They did one of those Facebook interview things, and somebody asked him what his favorite metal band was, and he said it was Sabaton.
Ooh,
from Sweden. And I look him up. Have you heard of Sabaton?
No, but I like the
all
name
their metal, but all their songs are about historical events.
That's fucking
it's kind of
great,
dude. Kind of great. Yeah.
That sounds delightful.
It's like a bunch of your old history teachers started a metal band.
That would be awesome to like actually see. Oh my God. There's a band I like right now that does like a sort of Norwegian folk, but they're like they've been in video games and shit. They're called Heilung. They're dope, man. They dress up in antlers and shit. It's fucking crazy.
Man, I will say this, man, and you may disagree with me, but I think overall some of the best metal is abroad, is in Europe,
yeah,
and the Scandinavian countries. Those are the ones, man. Those are that kind of metal, man. That kind of weird experimental, really melodic metal.
Oh yeah,
like that. That metal for a long time here. You hit metal, you think of some bands that are just guys screaming and stuff, which is fine too. I like that sometimes. Sometimes it's really cool. It has its place. But you get this Norwegian metal bands, man. They have like amazing singers, man. Bands like Nightwish and just the first one I can
Gorgoroth is another one that that's a really hardcore band. They actually got banned from Poland for having mock crucifixions.
Yeah.
And decapitating and throwing the heads of sheep into the audience.
Cool.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
It's like mayhem on steroids, man.
They're a Christian rock band, then?
They absolutely are.
They open for Under Oath.
They're all for those. They're all about that Jesus life. They're all. If you don't follow the tenets of the Bible for Gorgoroth, they will behead you on stage. It's almost like a real guar, like
yeah. It's guar, but it's real, bro. That'd be terrifying. No,
it would be.
There is this it was like a super group. They came out with a couple cover albums. It was like 4 metal singers from like big Norwegian metal bands or something. They called themselves the Northern Kings, and they like took turns singing these metal covers, and a couple of them they sang together. I think there's I forget they like did Hello by Lionel Richie and like Kissed by a Rose, and they did Take on Me by Aha, and the guy just hits that high note like full voice, just it's insane.
Really?
Northern Kings. Yeah. It's it's great and hilarious at the same time. It's hilarious because of just how epic of a cover they had to make for that song with Take on Me. Like you had to go that over the top to make it that insane. Yes. If you were playing Take on Me in the middle of a battle of elves and dwarves, like a big what am I looking for? Like a Peter Jackson type battle. That'd be kind of.
That would be awesome.
That'd be the song that would be playing, I think. Peter Jackson needs more metal, is basically what I'm saying. He needs more metal in his movies.
Yes, I agree. Have you ever seen Meet the Feebles?
Yeah, you told me about that. Is that weird? Is it claymation or puppets or something?
Yeah, dude. It's super like weird and out there to the point where it's like, holy shit, what caused you, like the old Seth Meyers bit? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? And why did you make this film with like animatronics and puppetry all in like compassing this wacky ass storyline where you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, Peter Jackson needs to lay off all the drugs. Like all the drugs.
Does he really though?
He does for Meet the Feebles, sir.
I believe you. I'm just not going to watch it.
You have to. I think that's going to be a movie watch we do. I
don't have to do anything. What do we got today, Ray?
Well, it's a good show. We've got
Is
a
it?
decent card tonight, starting at 10 on ESPN Plus. Hermansson versus Vettori. I don't know much about Vettori,
He's a
but
beast, dude. Vittori's a beast.
I'm excited to watch that because I know Hermansson is just this shy of like straight up cave savage. So that's gonna the way he hits people and he bucket his tech and his technique on the ground is impeccable. I love Jack Hermansson, so that's gonna be fun. You did though send
I
me
did.
we
What do?
did we you wanted to talk about this and I saw the video this morning before you told me about it, and it's this kid decking a referee for a bad call, and
Well,
holy shit, dude.
yeah, I don't know what the call was, but so what happened is they ejected this kid. I don't know what he did, but
Yeah.
after the referee said that he was ejected, he started sprinting on the field towards the ref and just straight out speared him.
Yep. I, I
I
watched
shouldn't
it.
be laughing because it's fucked up. It's really fucked up.
Well, I mean, sometimes you get those. Like everybody
Well, the guy's
loves.
all right though. I think he's okay.
I hope.
He did get his bell rung a bit. Like it's the thing. I mean, I talk about it all the time. I umpire baseball, so I've been waiting for something like this to happen to me for years, man.
Yeah.
I still am. I'm still waiting for it. So every time I see something like that, it pisses me off. It does. Do we have the video?
Yes, we do. I'm going to pull it
Okay.
up right here. He got a police escort, by the way. But here's the hit on the referee. He has the flag, and
Oh no! Boom! Oh, all
Oh.
right. He just trucked him.
just completely. Oh,
Not okay. Not
Not at all.
okay.
Let's bring
Not
it back.
okay. Like there's no one on earth, no one sane on earth that's on that kid's side. It's like
No.
what do you, I mean, this happened a few years ago, also in Texas. It was a little bit different because I think it was two linebackers in the middle of a play, but they obviously hit the referee on purpose. But this was so blatant. It's so obvious that man.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I have
Like,
so many questions.
let's just see this one more time. He picks
do it.
up the flag,
Uh-huh.
and then his body goes back into the right.
Here he is. Ah! Oh my gosh. That is terrifying. Okay, so what I know is from reading stuff and seeing reports, they did arrest the kid. He's out on bond. He did get charged with assault, which is good.
Yeah.
He should. I mean, that can't. I was saying the same thing. I don't know if it's one of those things that the referee has to press charges or not. But I was thinking, what if it happened to me? And the thing is, I could see that happening, and people saying, "Well, he just made a mistake or whatever." Don't push charges on the kid. I don't know if that's an option here. It may not be, but you'd have to press charges for all the referees and umpires and anyone. I mean, you have to send a message that this isn't okay. If you do this to us, you're going to get in legal trouble. So he's going to get in trouble. He should. I don't know what. I'm not saying ruin the kid's life, but whatever you would give anybody else for assault, just the normal. I don't know how old he is either. I don't know if he's a minor.
Yeah, I didn't exactly read,
but they did tell me he was like district player of the year or something. I did see that. So he may be. I don't know. I don't know if he would have been thinking about going to college for football. I don't know. It's not happening anymore. Most likely.
No, not at all. This guy's going to be working the freight dock for the rest of his life going, I was the greatest player that year. That's going to be that guy.
Maybe. Oh man, it just makes me so angry because
I am. I did find the article, by the way.
What would you do, man, in that situation if someone just quit? I mean, number one, I guess you can't do anything. You hope that everyone has your back, right? So as soon as it happens, you just get out of the dude's way, right?
The way if I was officiating, because I've had a few things where people have like gotten in my face refereeing hockey. I've had parents when I was like in high school get in my face and like act alpha as shit. And thank Jesus I was on fucking Concerta when I was, because like knowing me now and how I am, like I would have socked every single dickhead that fucking did something to me during a hockey game when I was refereeing it. He's that kid obviously got some anger issues, something that, he's definitely an alpha. I mean, he's definitely an alpha kind of dude where he can do no wrong, and when he gets called out on something, he gets a little pissy, which is most people and this kid's 18, by the way.
Okay.
So
yeah, then he's getting tried as an adult because he is an adult. So it's a big deal. Yeah,
huge.
I've had it too all the time. Guys in my face or whatnot. Parents and women too. Parents, just not saying just guys. They're getting in my face, but never. There's only one time, I think I told you about it, that me and my partner after a high school game, we got followed to our cars by like 4 or 5 dads, and one was holding a bat. And they were very angry. I think the guy with the bat, I give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he just happened to have the bat. Like, I don't think he realized that he had the bat really, or he was carrying his son's bat anyway. I don't know. But
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, they kept yelling at us, and the guy who I was with kept talking back, and I'm just like, dude, just get in your car and let's leave. Luckily, that's one of the reasons they tell you that if you know who you're working with, try to park next to each other.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons. I mean, that's all the kinds of stuff they tell us because of things like that. They tell us to park next to each other if you know who you're working with. And they also tell you to go on the field together and leave the field together. Do everything together. That's why. And they also tell you as soon as it's over, leave.
Yeah, I always love those guys. Those guys have always been the ones that make me giggle the most. Like, those are the guys at the bar where like their wife is like, "Okay, Frank, come on, let's go." And they won't fucking leave. Like, just get out, you shithead. Why would you want to cause more fucking problem?
Right. I will say that anyone that attacks a amateur ref or umpire is that's small dick energy, man. That is a definition of small dick energy.
Yeah,
who in their right mind does that? It's insane. That
guy that threw that hit on the referee, he'll at least 20 times by the time he hits 25. I'm gonna say 20 times at least will say the words, "You think you're better than me."
Oh, probably daily. Yeah, that's probably true, man. A few years ago, remember Real Sports did a story on it, and I think I've talked about it on here before, but I think it was 2 years in a row there were amateur soccer referees that were killed from sucker punches. I think 2 years in a row. One guy died instantly. It was adult games they're officiating, but one guy died, I think, instantly. The other guy was in a coma and eventually died. That's getting sucker punched, man. It's not okay. And those guys are both in jail, I believe, but like it's not okay, man. I don't know why. No, man, I could talk about it forever because it's obviously something. Because I officiate sports, and I don't get it. I mean, I guess you could say that with any kind of assault like that. Really, like you guys disagree about something, so you want to hit somebody, and it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense, and it's sick, and I hate it. And this is the second time in the last. I think this happened 3 or 4 years ago, also in Texas. Just coincidentally, we'll say coincidentally, but. Because I've told you before that when I was in Texas and I witnessed high school football, I went to a handful of games, and it was big schools, and it seemed the same as the big schools in Ohio to me. Like, people say it's crazier down there. It's pretty crazy in Ohio too, and most people that have been around will tell you that. So it's the same, but so I don't really think it has too much. It's just coincidence that it was Texas, but I feel bad, man. And like I said, that Real Sports episode where they talked about this, they had other videos of like. A coach and a couple players, football players, went after a ref, and like, man, they almost killed the guy. It was bad. Like they all jumped him, and man, I don't know, it was bad. It's scary. And
when you play sports,
people wonder why people don't want to do this. What?
No, I was gonna say, continue with your thought, buddy.
Oh, no, people wonder why people don't want to do this. They're wondering why officiating numbers are down. They're wondering why they can't find referees and umpires for their sports. This is why. It's pretty damn obvious.
Yeah,
fucking calm down, people. It's not easy, right? It's why. Number one, I'm not getting a small amount of money to go to this baseball game with the intention to fix it. Why do I care? Why would I do that? No, never once. Why would I care? So why do you think? Dude, I'm just going there, and I like baseball a lot. I would have to, right, to do this, and I do, obviously, and so I do it because I love baseball, and I do get a little extra money. But it's if I didn't love baseball, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I do it because I love baseball. I like being part of the game still, but I'm not trying to sway anyone. And obviously, I'm just trying to do my best for the love of the game. I'm trying to do my best for you. Am I perfect? Yeah. Of course not. But I'm going to try. I try my best, and if I miss something, I missed it. But I'm human, man. This shit happens, all right? And it happens. Calm down, bro. Calm down.
I've had plenty of times in hockey where I've had to kick coaches out. I've had to do different things where it's just like we need to just remove the situation from what it is and go from there, move on, and just try to do something. And like when you mentioned like the parents thing, were your parents like that?
No. I
No.
wasn't. Well, the thing is, I wasn't a very good athlete, so they didn't really care too much for me. My brother was better, but no, they weren't like that. Well, if it was anybody, my mom was the one that would yell a bunch, but not too bad or anything.
Mm. My old man was not follow you to your car guy because one, he was 6'6", so everybody was like he was always nice to people to begin with because he's got the stigma of being a big dude to be like right off the rip. And he was always the guy. And this is one thing I've always said to people when it comes to like friends or whatever is don't be an asshole. Like that is the one thing we ask of you in this world is don't be an asshole. Like, and for people, I understand it's sports. You got energies running high.
Yeah, I don't care if they get. It's different between. They can say some things or whatever. I understand sometimes emotions are high, and I understand that sometimes they don't like stuff, and they can say some things. That's fine, that's fine with being competitive. I understand that, but there's a line, and it often gets crossed very quickly. But if a little bit, it doesn't bother me as long as they know when they need to stop and whatnot. That's fine.
Yeah, and like I want to look up because this team, by the way, did win its game. The kid that wound up having to be ejected and hit the referee because the incident happened during the second quarter of the Edinburgh's 35-21 victory over Far San Juan Alamo. Literally the name of the place. PHRR hyphen San Juan hyphen Alamo. So these kids went down. The kids that he was facing went down exactly like Daniel Boone, which is good. But it like you're winning at that point. Were they losing at the time? What could have caused that? What could have caused all
things?
This?
There's nothing that justifies it though. I can't think of any situation that justifies it.
And I'm not justifying it either. I want you to know that. I'm just saying.
I know you're not.
There's a couple factors that can go into a mood of an athlete.
We also didn't see in that video what he did to get disqualified. I have no idea, but he could have done nothing. Yeah, he got disqualified, and it still doesn't justify that.
No,
you can be angry, but you don't do that, man.
No, fuck no. And I've never, I can actually say until high school, because I really didn't play in high school. I was one of the bench warmers, that guy. I never got kicked out of a game, ever. Never got kicked out, never had any I would do dirty shit to people that I got away with because one, my dad was a great teacher of dirty shit. Like I will follow the great high clack tradition of being a goon in sports and getting away with it when I have kids. Like I'm going to teach them every move in the book to make, if my kid plays baseball, I'm going to teach him to play like Ty Cobb. Like I'm going to teach him how to be an asshole, possibly racist. Who knows? I mean,
well, you did say Ty Cobb, didn't you? I don't know.
I did.
The thing is, they don't really get away with it anymore. You spike somebody once, you're done. Like,
well, obviously, but there's little things you can do that are considered like unwritten dirty shit, like sliding into a guy, but like making sure like your knee goes into his shin. I like those things. I like a dirty player, and for some reason, it's fun for me. But when you get mad after you get caught for playing dirty, you realize you never played dirty. Like you weren't good at it,
right?
In my opinion.
I'm pretty much against it in amateur sport, youth sports especially. Like if you're an adult, do whatever you want. I mean, that's why I've thrown at a whole lot more players than coaches because a coach is like, I'm like, whatever. I mean, if a player says half of what his coach says to me, I throw him out because I'm like, dude, that's not what we're supposed to be doing here, especially high school games. I'm like, this is not what they want you to do here in the Ohio High School Athletic Association, right? They don't want this, right? So it's not going to happen. You can't play anymore. What else was I going to say? Oh, I did get thrown out of a little league game when I was 12 because I didn't see. I should have been thrown out. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to do this because I saw it on television and thought I could do it, but I trucked the catcher.
Ah,
Yeah, and dude, luckily he was all right and he held on to the ball, but I didn't know I wasn't allowed to do that, and they threw me out of the game. I had no idea. I'm like,
way to go,
now as an
Pete
umpire,
Rose.
obviously you cannot do that, right? But yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the sport you played is like a sport of gentlemen almost. It's a weird like baseball.
It's weird. It's weird because it's kind of both, right? It's
Yeah,
gentlemen and assholes. Kind of like the way it's
I
there's
know.
unwritten rule. There's unwritten rules, and if you break the unwritten rules, then they become assholes very quickly.
It's like for every oh god, who's the baseball player? It's like for every Ted Williams, a nice good guy, you have a Doc Ellis. Like, and that's what I love in professional baseball is you do have those guys who, and I wish smoking was still allowed in the dugout, to be honest with you. Like, there's nothing better than looking at Jim Leland smoking a cigarette in Three River Stadium with a Pirates uniform on. And you're just like, that's the kind of coach I want right there.
Yeah,
like,
those are great videos. Like when you see like a backup quarterback smoking on the sidelines and shit. those are great. I'm going in anyway.
one of my when I started smoking cigarettes after high school, my parents were like really on my ass about it, and we were watching a Don Cherry interview show he used to have in Canada back in like I think it was the 80s, I want to say, and one of the greatest goalies of all time in our sport is Jerry Cheevers. He's the famous mask with all the stitches on it. If you've ever seen like pictures of a Boston Bruins goalie with like stitching on his mask, that's Jerry Cheevers. And Jerry Cheevers was like, oh yeah. And he also played in Cleveland as well for the Cleveland Crusaders of the WHA. But, and he talked about one time he was in Cleveland in between periods, and the first words out of his mouth were having my intermission cigarette. And I just looked back at them and was like, this is one of the greatest goalies of all time. All right. My dad's hero, Mario Lemieux, smoked cigarettes until he got Hodgkin's lymphoma. So it's like, I like those players. I like players that have that edge.
Yeah, it's the I don't give a fucking of it all. That's just kind of why it's great. Like I never picked up smoking. My family members smoke, and I give them shit for it. Obviously, not a fan of it. But it's just anything like that. I don't give a fuckery. And same thing if they were drinking like a PBR on the sideline, right? It wouldn't matter. Or even when they're putting dips in or whatever. Well, baseball, you're allowed to do it until the last few years, I think.
Yeah, they got rid of that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, not that long ago. But I mean, still, guys still do it. I think Terry Francona does in the dugout still. So it was funny. The Onion had a headline that had Terry Francona, the manager of the Indians, with a glass face mask, like some of those like those ridiculous big glass face masks, and he had tobacco spit all over it from the inside. Like he was spitting onto his own glass mask.
Oh God.
It was hilarious. Right. It's the Onion, but it was hilarious, right? And I looked at my brother and he just goes, that's fake. I'm like, dude, come on. It's the Onion. Dude. Of course it's fake. It's a joke. He wasn't even managing at the time. He missed most of the year because he was sick.
Yeah, I always love when people do that, the articles thing where they're like, that's fake.
Fake.
Fucking funny. Like at least it's cute. Like
it's the Onion. Have you not figured that out by now?
One of my favorite fake news organizations is Kayfabe Wrestling, and they come up with like the most absurd. It's basically the Wrestling Onion now. Like that's what they've grown into. Shout out to Simon Miller over at What Culture, because I believe that's his website. Now,
is there an MMA one? Because we need to start it. If not, it's the bro.
They have an MMA. They have an MMA website, which I want to submit articles to, but I don't care to write that much, to be honest.
I submitted one article to one of those sites. I don't remember which one. I don't think they put it up because I don't think it was very good. But the idea, it was when I just had a headline. It was about the Little League team from Portland making the Little League World Series for the first time. It was something like Little Leaguers from Portland indifferent about trip to Little League World Series. Something like that. And then just the article was like, yeah, but it's kind of for posers, stuff like that. Whatever. Like they were just the hipster Little League team. I thought it was funny.
You should have had the I can see it now, the picture of like the kid with like the thick black rim glasses,
right?
just holding
Yeah, they're
coffee.
They all have they're all wearing Eric Plunk glasses.
One of them wanted to be Ricky Vaughn so bad he drew skulls in the middle.
It's like James Karinchak for the Indians, man. He wants to be Ricky Vaughn. He when he made the team, he wore number 99. He changed his walkout music to Wild Thing. He is nuts, though. I do like him a lot. He's gonna have to be the closer next year because they didn't re-sign Brad Hand because they're cheap. So he's gonna have to be the closer, and he's got a really nasty fucking curveball, but when he can spot it. But the thing is, we're getting on baseball again. If you have a nasty curveball, you have to either spot your curveball or your fastball. Right? If you spot your fastball, you can get away with not being able to spot your curveball that much.
I never got into baseball on that level. I love the pitch count. I love
really because I feel like you have to know to get into baseball. You have to be a little bit more than a casual fan to really get baseball. I think. I feel like baseball is the hardest sport to be a casual fan of.
It is.
If you don't understand like why they're throwing the pitch they do in a certain count and all that stuff.
I definitely.
If you don't, really, I feel like it'd be boring if you didn't understand.
Actually, no. I enjoy baseball as a sport. Like I've always said,
but as long as you're aware of what a curveball, what breaking balls are, and why they're hard to hit and whatnot. Some people are like, "Why is the loopy one hard to hit?" I'm like, "Because he just threw one that was 100."
Yeah,
and it comes out of his hand about the same.
I understand like basic strategy from playing like the video games and stuff where it's like, okay, I threw 2 curveballs. He's going to be expecting it. Let's throw a like 3-seam like on the inside corner right at the knees and see what happens. But
what's
like
3-seam? 2-seam or 4-seam?
I think I've seen a 3-seam 3-seam
or 4-seam
option on there, but it's a video game too.
If you use, well, it's because with the baseball ways, man. If you hold it one way, your fingers are on like 4 seams, right, and the other way it's on the ride of the ball in the middle. I don't know what they call it. It's called the fairway of the ball. It's 2 seams, so there's no 3-seam option.
I just threw out a number, sir. Like
I'm just correcting you. You're welcome. All right. If I
see what we mean by fake and understanding what fake and stuff is, Tim Danko just fell into it, listeners. That's right.
No, do not play that. You said something ignorant and it wasn't on purpose. So get out of here. All right, we got to stop talking about baseball. Right. Imagine if we had a baseball podcast, man. I'd be screaming at you the entire time.
Yeah. I would definitely be more of the Greg Opie Hughes than I am on this show if we had a baseball podcast. Although that would be fun. I'm not going to allow baseball because what I love baseball will always be, and I think I said this on an earlier episode of the podcast. It's my 3rd favorite sport, much like how Mike Hamilton is my 3rd favorite baseball announcer of all time.
Tom Hamilton.
Tom Hamilton. I was thinking Milo, but for some reason it came out as Mike. And Milo Hamilton was the Astros announcer for decades in Houston, and then Lanny Ferteri is my second favorite of all time. I love Lanny Ferteri from the Pirates. Whoop, whoop. But just I know it's just like the sport of baseball. If you don't understand it, it's boring.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's why I don't give people too much crap. They say they don't like baseball because they don't understand it. I get that, but whatever.
Yeah, do you know though what a sport that we kind of understand is?
Oh, cricket. I tried to watch cricket yesterday. I can't fucking.
Did you? Really?
Yeah, it was New Zealand and West Indies. They're in the 3rd day of their test match.
Yeah.
And like the score, they were up like 500. And I'm like, I'm done with this. I don't need to watch this.
I get into that because I like the actual, like strategy of that. Plus, there's some bowlers that are really, really good that can like make like spin the ball enough to where it like will go here, like this, like right here, and then all of a sudden like bounce right into the wickets, and you're like, yes, that is the sexiest placement ever, sir or ma'am, however you want to identify nowadays.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like in baseball. If you paint the corner with a fastball or whatever, I get it. I understand that part of it, but the scoring is weird because there's all these different numbers on there, and I haven't quite figured it out yet.
Yeah, a home run is basically 6 points.
Not just that. There's your normal score, and then there's some. I don't know. I forget what all the numbers on that scoreboard were. There's a bunch of weird. I don't know. I forget. Never mind. Whatever. Let's talk about something else. Fighting. You're talking about fighting, right? Let's talk about that. I like fighting.
We got a fun one. There's a couple fights on this card that I'm really interested in. One of them we'll get to in a little bit. So let's start with.
We're gonna talk about these cuts. We're gonna talk about Yoel Romero.
Actually, yeah, let's talk about that before we really get into the card. Because that is a topic that's been brought up that he had 3 fights left in his contract.
Yeah, it was weird, right? I mean, I know he's in his 40s, right? And I'm sure there's other stuff that we don't know that played into it, right? So we can't really say much unless we know a little bit of what's going on back behind the scenes there. But we knew cuts were coming, and we talked about it last episode, and a few have happened since then. And a lot more are going to happen. We thought maybe most of them wouldn't happen until after Christmas, but a few are happening right now. Yoel Romero got cut, and all right, man, he's older. Okay, like I said, there has to be something else going on. I don't know. Maybe they didn't like the way he fought in his last couple fights. That fight with Izzy was pretty boring. However, I mean, how was you gonna fight that guy? I mean, I don't know. Whatever, that's fine. I like Yoel Romero. He's good, but like I said, he's getting older, and maybe they're just kind of they're done with him. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. He's sort of has been in a weird trajectory, Yoel. There's times where he was the dominating force really at 185 for a while, and that wasn't a belt holder. His fights with Whitaker, I think, could have gone a little better than what they did. Him getting in there, but like he wasn't a real big striker either,
right?
And that's something I think that maybe caused a little bit of this was like Dana White doesn't understand wrestling. And
I don't think that's true, man. He understands his sport by now. But the thing is, when you're a power wrestler, but you can't get inside of the guys who are pure strikers like Whitaker and Adesanya, then that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
If your thing's wrestling, but you can't get your body on those guys or refuse to really try sometimes, like up against Izzy, because of the respect of his striking, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the only way you're going to beat that guy is to get your body on him. But at the same time, yeah, it is dangerous to get in there, but it's the only chance you have. So I don't know. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, too, is
I don't know how much he's making. He's probably making a decent bit, and they're losing money. So maybe they're like, do we really need to keep this guy around compared to everybody else? This guy's making a lot more money than some of these other guys. Maybe we just cut his salary.
Yeah. I mean, that
definitely had something to do with how much he's making, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I honestly think these, what am I looking for? Oh, these cuts are definitely going to be a lot of fat trimming more than they are based off of like who they are. Like they'll look at contracts right now and I think you're going to see some big names, but I also think you're probably going to see a lot of people who have already been on the bubble for this. But like, because coronavirus, happened, it kind of has hastened that in a way, the cuts. So I think this is going to be a lot. They're going to look at a lot of contracts and see who their stars are and who their draws are. I would hope. I mean, I hope pay-per-view numbers do come into play, viewing numbers, ratings, and stuff like that. Because
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
In my opinion, that's the best way to make that metric. Is you have
also things like social media following and things you kind of wish weren't part of it, but they're part of it. When it gets close, when it gets to the line, it becomes part of it. But yeah, the UFC is going into small market baseball mode, man. They have to, pick and choose their contracts they want to keep. Even if there's guys with enough talent they want to keep, they kind of get pick and choose because you're losing some money this year, and that makes sense. What was weird is they cut again, I don't know the whole story. I'm sure there's a story and a reason, but there's a guy who they gave a contract to on the Contender Series in August, and they just cut him, and he hasn't had a fight in the UFC. They gave him a contract, but then cut him before he had a fight. I don't know why. He's a younger guy too. He might be back, but I don't know.
They might have. I think a lot of the guys that they're going to cut are gonna. There's probably an understanding. Also, if you think about it, like you just brought up, where the dude doesn't have a fight, never had a fight in the UFC, and the UFC is like, look, man, I know you won this contract, but what we'll do, I think Dana's not that big of a cock stain. Like he was a nice guy when I met him.
He tries not to be. I mean, I give him that. He really does try not to be. You know, he's still a promoter, and they do a lot of shady promoter things, but he tries not to be too big of a cock stain. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see that kid that you're talking about. What's the gentleman's name? Do you remember?
Oh, it's Huckberry, something weird like that.
I think Dana probably called him and look, we're gonna rescind that contract because of what's going on. But once we get our revenue stream back and we get arenas open, I think he'll bring him back for like a couple fights on a prelim basis, see what happens, go from there. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with these cuts, especially in the UFC.
Maybe there is that one guy whose name I also can't remember right now that they signed him to fight somebody, then found somebody else, so they cut him right away. But then like the next week they signed him again.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I forget that guy's name, but
that was during like Fight Island Phase 1.
One of them, I think he was supposed to fight Alex Caceres, and then they gave him somebody else and cut him, and then the next week they gave him somebody. And then he won his fight in like first round, I believe, by submission. I just can't remember his name. That's all.
Interesting. Yeah, man. There's going to be, we said it on the last episode. I think there's going to be a nice bloodletting, which, it will trim the fat in the UFC. A lot of
Bellator did it too.
Yeah. I mean,
they just got rid of. It's a sad day, Ray. Bellator cut Roy Nelson.
Oh my God.
I know.
What are you gonna do, Timothy?
I don't know. I hope I hope he starts fighting like he used to. He just like starts booking his own fights, like anybody that will pay him to fight, or he'll just retire. I mean, he's like 45 or something close to that.
I can see like guys getting cut. And who was the gentleman in Indianapolis that ran his own fighting organization out of Indianapolis?
Oh. Is that Lytle? No.
Yeah, Chris Lytle. He had the Midwest Fight Series. He started his own. I think honestly,
that's what Khabib's doing.
Yeah, well, Khabib, I'm gonna tell you something. For the first time in a long, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I am on Khabib's side and we've brought this up in the past, for MMA to be in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. You are.
And I like the fact that he's taking that initiative because of who he is and the country he lives in as well, which is a major player a lot of times.
That is true. Yeah. If Russia wants it, there's a good shot.
Yeah. And I'd be on the side of the Ruskies at that point to make sure that MMA goes into the Olympics. And I like the fact that Khabib has come out and said he wants to see it in the Olympics. So that's the first time and probably the only time ever we're going to agree on each other, which is always a good thing. We need to find common ground in this world. But I mean, it's definitely, it's interesting, man, because you look at a guy like Khabib, who does have political clout because of who he is in that country. I mean, if you're an athlete in a dictate or in a basically an oligarchy, you're already in because the people upstairs love you because you make the country look good. So if Russia was to get that in there, I think we have nothing but greatness.
It probably is sweet living when you're a giant international sports star as a Russian. Probably.
Or any society that isn't like democratic or that kind of thing.
Well, even here, yeah. But I'm talking like a different level, I guess.
Oh yeah, for sure, brother, for sure. It's I'm just glad that that's actually a thing finally, that's getting into the discussion again, which is MMA. I mean, it's already legal in most countries. France just legalized it. Couple, what was
Yeah,
it?
I mean, obviously, there's a
Ago?
lot of logistics, right? There's a billion different ways they could try to do it, and that's something they have to figure out. But it's probably still a good bit away. But yeah, I mean, Habib being part of it, and like I said, if Russia is really into it and they really want to push it, then it has a lot better chance because Russia is obviously a big Olympic player.
Oh yeah,
Even though they get banned from stuff all the time for cheating, but still they still are.
it's Project Icarus.
They
We
throw a lot of
only
money
fly
at
for
the
the sun.
is the IOC International
Yeah, the
Olympic
IOC, the
Commission. Yeah,
International Olympic
IOC.
Committee.
Yeah. They throw a lot of money at those people. So maybe.
It's like FIFA, except for they get away with it a lot of the time.
Kind of. Well, FIFA did for a very long time.
Yeah, it's interesting, man.
I'm still bummed out about Qatar, but that's a whole different thing. We'll talk about that next year.
One thing I'm kind of mad about is still that, and nobody really talks about it, which is weird, is the kid, the wrestler that got executed for protest, for being at a protest. That one bothers me still to this day.
Yeah, I know. He's Iranian, right? Is that right?
Yeah, he was Iranian.
Yeah.
He was Iranian.
Yeah,
And they executed him like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I know. It's a bummer. That's a bummer.
It's ridiculous. Why? Because he was protesting? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, we all know it's fucked up. We know it's corrupt. It just sucks that they take his life because of that. It's ridiculous. Great. Everybody in a good mood now?
Yeah, we're awesome.
We're
getting ready to talk some fights, buddy. That's right.
Ray, there is, I think, 5 undefeated fighters on this card, Ray.
Ooh.
5
undefeated.
I believe so, from what I'm looking at right here. I don't know all of them. I know a couple of them. Dude, this prelim card, there's some fights that I'm excited about. It's a testament to the Contender Series because these are guys that I learned about on the Contender Series, and now I'm very excited to see them fight in the UFC. One of them, and I told you about this the other day, is Jimmy Flick. Have you looked up Jimmy Flick?
I have not, but he's fighting Cody Durden, who I am very familiar with Cody Durden. I am more familiar though.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Edward Norton. It's
I hate you.
I didn't say the real name of the character, at least.
That's Brad Pitt's character. Well, it is Edward Norton. It's both.
It's one.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
It's like reading. It's like reading and watching American Psycho. They're totally different movies, really.
I watch Fight Club again. I'm just amazed that they made that movie. I mean, you know what? Like that time, 98 to like 01, 02, they made some movies that you're surprised they ever got made, but there were some great movies in that time period.
Oh, hell yeah. Fight Club, especially with just how hyper violent that movie was. One of the best scenes, and I always stick by this because I'm not a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars. Watching Jared Leto get beaten up is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. I love it. I hate Jared Leto. Die, Jared Leto.
Ugh. Saw him on a Gucci commercial today.
Did you?
Yep. When I was watching football.
I am excited for Morbius, though. I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be a fun movie.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, but dude, Jimmy Flick is a good old boy from Oklahoma who who seems kind of crazy, and he got into MMA because his family, most of them are drug addicts. His father and his brother used to be in his corner a lot, but they fell back into the drugs, so I don't think that's happening anymore. Or at least it wasn't when the Contender Series thing happened. But he got into MMA to get himself off the streets, right? And he's a good old boy. He's kind of nuts, and he has an insane jiu-jitsu game. And he's a really, really aggressive submission grappler. I think they said he broke some sort of Contender Series record for submission attempts because he'll just roll. And once he sees he doesn't have something, he'll switch it. He'll transition to something else. I think he had like 8 before he ended up getting the guy. He had 8 different holds, and it kept transitioning to something else.
Who is the guy that had the camo shorts again?
Bryce Mitchell.
So he's kind of like a Bryce Mitchell in a way, where it's
kind of.
Once you get you to the ground, it's fucking done. That's gonna be fun.
And Cody Durden's a ground guy too, so this is going to be probably a good grappling match, which is always exciting for. It's always fun, right? So this guy Jimmy Flick. Something else I was going to say about him. Can't quite remember. He's He's been knocked out a few times though, so I think that's his Achilles heel there is that. But he's a super aggressive grappler, and he's great at it. He was on the guy from Pittsburgh that had some of the guys that we had on. He had Brogan on when he was about to fight. I forget the name of his podcast, or else I shout him out. But he had Jimmy Flick on for like 10 minutes the other day. We're gonna have to start doing that too. It's something we're gonna start doing, right? Those micro interviews.
Yeah,
if we can get a guy for 10 minutes, we'll take 5 to 10 minutes. We'll take whatever we can get. Especially he was talking to him while he was cutting weight.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That would actually be a fun thing. Yeah, I'm excited to watch this. I know Cody Durden is a psycho on the ground, especially. So that's going to be.
You had the line on this page that you pulled up.
The lines were not on the website, which is the weird.
What?
Yeah, they didn't put the lines up. I think that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking, win by significant strikes, blah, blah, blah. All the technical jargon that you leave ESPN to.
Jargon.
Rabba.
Speaking of ESPN, oh man, Dan Levitard's leaving. Oh man.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you on the podcast. I texted you about it. What'd you think about that?
It doesn't surprise me really at all. It's just a bit of a bummer because there's a time that it seemed like they loved him, man. They had him on. They let him do his own thing, and that's what's kind of a nice thing about what he was doing on Highly Questionable and Dan Le Batard show. It was a sports show. They talked about important sports stories, but it was also silly and it was fun and it's funny. And they talked about whatever else they wanted to. And it just got a nice break from like the people screaming at each other, talking heads screaming at each other all the time. And I love what he did. He did all kinds of weird stuff. And that's why I thought it was great. And for a while, it looked like they loved him. And he gave him a new contract, I think a couple years ago. They talked to about it on his show, him and Stu Gatz, who I think Stu Gatz is still going to stay there. I don't know what they're going to do there because him and Stu Gatz together are perfect. But okay, either way. But it seems like things were getting stuffier at ESPN. Like ever since they got rid of Mike and Mike, that's when things started getting really stuffy again. And I think they just want to move in a different direction, although his show is popular. So I don't know. But it seems my guess is he's going to just do. I mean, he's made his money there. I think he's going to probably not go to a network and do his own thing on the internet because then he can do whatever the hell he wants. And that's kind of what he wants to do. So I think that's probably what he's going to do. And I'll watch it.
I can definitely see him going the way of Dan Patrick because Dan Patrick for a long time.
He's on a network though, right?
He wasn't for a long time. It was strictly kind of like a podcast that he would do, like an early podcast he would do from his house. And then they built that studio that they do the stuff in with all the guys on there. And it turned into where I think honestly, Dan Le Batard will get back on a network.
I don't think he wants to.
But in time, they'll throw him enough money. I guarantee you. Somebody will throw him enough cash.
Maybe. I mean, if they let him do it once, I don't know.
It happens.
Because it was working. It was working for them.
Well, yeah.
They had a huge following. I don't know.
What's the one corporate slogan that never, ever doesn't get old? Let's do something new. That is what they try to do in networks, especially. Like a lot of ESPN has had a shit ton of turnover in the last decade, at least. I mean, Dan Patrick was one of them.
They had a couple years ago. They had a bunch of cuts. Right.
Who's the guy? Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen used to be on ESPN, and now he's on Audience or whatever it is.
Who's that guy that works for Channel 3? I can't think of his name. He does Brown stuff. He works with Mike Polk up there at Channel 3. He was on ESPN for a long time, too. I can't remember his name.
Rizzo?
No, not Rizzo. I can't remember his name. I can look it up, but it's not important. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, man. Like I've seen, because I've always been a broadcasting guy. That's one reason why I'm glad we're doing this podcast. At least I'm doing something with the technical school education I got on how to run this bullshit and how to do a show. Still, it didn't sink, apparently. I mean, it didn't sink in. I mean, look at our listenership, gentlemen and boys and girls.
Don't tell me. I'm pretending that people are listening.
That's a good way to think about it, sir. I love you for that. uh but yeah, man, there's been a lot of it. I mean, we can all remember Greg Brenda. What's Bruce Drennan is the greatest example of what not to do with a radio career or a broadcasting career and still has a broadcasting career. It's insane.
Right? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. What he bet on? What did he do? He got in trouble for gambling, right?
Yeah, he was involved in, I think, some bookmaking operate, or like he would give money to like bookies and stuff like that and bet like high amounts and got in trouble for it. On oh god, I think it was like
Jay Crawford.
Huh?
Jay Crawford.
Yeah, Jay Crawford. I know who Jay Crawford is.
Yeah, that's the guy. He used to work for ESPN.
Interesting.
I think.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I know him from the news.
Right.
And from stuff he does with Mike Polk. Shout out to Mike Polk, though. Powerful Mike Polk. Sexy man. But yeah, dude, it's interesting to see, like, with broadcasting, because there's just always, unless your name's Howard Stern, really there is no turnover anymore that nobody's safe from. I mean, look at Opie and Anthony.
He was the first host of First Take.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah, and he was on that show Cold Pizza. You remember Cold Pizza?
No.
That didn't last very long.
That's ringing endorsements, sir. Ringing endorsements.
Right. Well, yeah. That and like the Jay Moore show. Remember Jay Moore had a show on ESPN?
Yeah. Jay Moore. I love Jay Moore. Jay Moore's a
remember when they got into reality TV in the early 2000s? Because that was the big thing. So they had their own amazing race called Beg, Borrow, and Deal.
No.
Yes, they did. I wish I'd bring that back. I'd love to be on that show. But they only did it like for a season or two. And then they also had Dream Job. They had it was like American Idol for anchors.
Jesus Christ. That's kind of funny, actually.
And the only person I remember from that show is Mike Hall, who's now at the Big Ten Network. But he got a job at ESPN for a minute, but now he's been at the Big Ten Network for a while.
Interesting.
I don't know why I remember that. I just do.
You've definitely watched more sports television than I ever have.
Back when I was younger, when I was still absorbing stuff, right? Like I obviously can't absorb this. Like if I was following MMA and what we're doing now when I was younger, I probably remember all these names, right? But it's a little more difficult. I'm trying, right? I'm getting there. There's a lot of names, man. We probably talked about a few hundred fighters since we've been doing this podcast.
For sure.
All right, I'm picking Jimmy Fleck. Did you hear me? All right. By submission.
I did. And I'm gonna take the brick as well, sir. I'm gonna take Jimmy Flick on that one as well. Then another one I'm interested in is actually the first fight of the night, heavyweights. When you got Gian Vellante coming back to the UFC, taking on Jake Collier, known as the Prototype. These are you gotta beat people.
Is that the prototype? Is that a prototype fighter? Does that look like a prototype to you?
I mean,
if you're going to build a fighter, is that the one you would build? I think Yoel Romero is the one you would build. I don't think Jake Collier is the one you build. But he is a badass. But I'm just saying, if you're building a fighter, right, your prototype, what does a fighter look like? That's not that isn't even the heavyweight, man. It's like Francis Ngannou is the guy you make. You don't make this guy.
Jake Collier looks like a guy I would make in Creative Fighter on UFC 4.
That's true. I always pick the fattest body. Yeah, there's like one flabby body option, and that's the one I always pick. It feels like an underdog that way. This guy got knocked out his last fight against Tom Aspinall. That was back in July. Okay,
interesting.
I
keep saying interesting today. I'm probably the weed, and also like my left side of my jaw hurts, which is always fun.
No one cares. It's fine. You're right.
Yeah. I think it's
and the Vellante here. He lost to Maurice Green. He got subbed by Maurice Green back in June.
Yeah,
these guys are coming off losses, but it's all right. We like the big boys. Started up. We'd have a couple good couple cards in a row, and the first fight of the night was like one of the better fights of the night. So let's see if they can keep it going, Ray.
Yeah, let's see if we can go 2-0 on the heavyweight opening fights. Because I believe last week we had
no, it wasn't. That wasn't the heavyweights.
I thought that was the heavyweight fight. Was the first on the main or the prelims?
No,
last week.
No. That was like I was on the main card.
No,
No,
okay.
it was Luke Sanders and Nate Maness.
That's it. Again,
Yeah.
weed, everybody.
So, hey,
Weed.
I'm surprised I remembered. I remember because we talked about that fight, and it was a great fight.
Yeah, it was, dude. That is probably one of the best opening opening matches on a card in a long, long time, and I'm excited to see that.
Well, not a long time, man. The fight before that, the card before that had the Hong Kong dude, the dude from Hong Kong, and that Koshi kid. That fight was amazing. The white dude from Hong Kong came back and won that fight in the third round. That was a great fight. Yeah, right. You were at my house. You saw that fight. I watched you watch that fight, Ray.
That was
forgot about it already.
That was like 4 COVID weeks ago, man. Like, what are you doing?
That's like 3 weeks ago. I mean, dude, the next pay-per-view is next week already.
I know. It's weird. Also, I said this to a friend of mine when we were out to lunch today. That like it's weird to me that like the election was 4 weeks ago. Like, where the fuck has this time been?
Oh, okay.
We're coming up on a month. I mean, it's today's December 7th. Today's December 5th.
Must have been a month then, yeah, because it was the 3rd, right? Something like that. Here's another one, dude. I'm pumped about. Another guy from the Contender Series, Jordan Levitt. Another dude who's really, really slick on the ground. I'm really excited. This is one of the undefeated dudes. This dude's undefeated, 7-0, and he subs everybody. And you know who he's fighting? I forgot. I didn't even know this guy was still alive, Ray. Matt Wyman.
Yeah.
Matt Wyman's still alive. And he's still fighting. Matt Wyman's been on the roster since 2007.
Jordan Levitt's got to get a new name, by the way. New fight name. He's known as the Monkey King.
I like it. It's weird. I like it.
It's an interesting choice. It's what am I thinking for his new name?
No. What's the problem with his nickname? Why do you think it's a problem?
That's an off-air conversation, sir. I'm not going to get in. I see you laying that trap. But yeah, Matt Wyman coming back to the UFC. He hasn't been fighting in a long, long time. What's his last fight?
I think he actually fought like a year or so ago. But the thing, he took like 5 years off. I think he retired. I was looking at his record. He retired for like 5 years and came back. Let me look. His last fight was last December.
Okay.
But there is a gap between 2014 and 2019. So yeah, he almost 5 years off.
And his last two fights were losses, but one of them was against Luis Pena, Violent Bob Ross.
Yeah,
and that was his comeback fight. Like, so it was on my birthday. Yay. Yeah, man, it to see Wyman like making a comeback after being gone for 5 years and now slowly getting back into the UFC pool. It's kind of cool to see these old school guys still around. You know, we've talked about it a few times. Like this sport is in a weird state because a lot of guys who started out are in like their 40s and 50s and still alive. And some of them who are in the 2000s, the early 2000s, they're in like their 30s and 40s now. So we're getting to see this weird era of like fighters who can still go in their like late lives because they took time off. Or you get guys like Wyman, who was a young guy, took 5 years off, came back, and has had 3 fights in the last 2 years. Yeah, so that's a cool little like
thing. Guys like Dennis Seaver, Cole Miller, or those guys. Sam Stout.
Oh, Dennis Seaver.
Dude, Dennis Seaver, man, he had that really slick that body kick, that spinning body kick he did. He crushed people with that thing.
I haven't watched it. I need to start watching more like old school fights again because Dennis Seaver, I haven't thought about Dennis Seaver in so long.
All I remember about Dennis Seaver was that kick he did, that spinning body kick he has, that back body kick. It was slick. All right, I think as much as I would like to see Levitt kind of Wyman get a win, I think Levitt's going to sub Wyman. This would be a good win for him.
Wyman's going to sub Wyman?
Seen everything. Levitt's going to sub Wyman. Levitt.
Oh, I can see Wyman. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's kind of cool that you know, besides the name, I think I'm going to pick Jordan Levitt as well. Still, it's been a long layoff even then for Wyman. So I think this is kind of going to be a what's the word I'm looking for? Profile fight for Jordan Levitt to get a win over a veteran. So I'm going to pick Jordan Levitt as well, sir. You have any other fights on the prelim card that you want to talk about? Louis Smolka. Louis Smolka is going to be on this card as well. And he's a little bit of a savage himself. He's going to be taking on Jose Quinones, and Louis Smolka going to get it done. Check this sexy mustache, by the way, Mitch or Timothy. Why did I call you Mitch?
I have no idea. I don't even have a guess. What you call it? I don't know. No, it's a good mustache. It pops up the face nice. Mm-hmm. It's good. I like it. I hope he has it for the fight. He'll win if he has it. His last fight was against Sean O'Malley. That was back in March. Yeah, I remember that fight.
Yeah.
Smoka. Who'd Smoka fight last, Ray? I'll tell you. He beat Casey Kenny. Oh, excuse me. No, he lost to Casey Kenny. Casey Kenny just got announced today that Casey Kenny's next matchup was going to be against Dominic Cruz in March.
Ooh.
Yeah. Should be interesting.
Make sure Keith Peterson is on that fight.
So. I hope
immediately.
So. I hope so.
I want alcohol and cigarettes to be there in the sexiness with it. I want, you know what I want more than anything now that I know Dominic Cruz is fighting? I want Keith Peterson to be there and just be by the announcer or like the entranceway, just hitting a cigarette while he's watching and just heckling from like the corner.
That'd be funny.
I don't understand why you got knocked out. Oh, wait, you got punched.
I want him to meet at the center of the octagon before the fight. When he gives instructions, I want him to light up. Like, hold on. Okay. I gave you the instructions in the dressing room. All right. Like that. Yeah. That'd be hilarious.
23 skidoo and let's potty. Yeah. Sounding like Terry McNeely. I love it. But no, that's going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward. I like Quinones too. So these two guys going at it, it's going to make for a very fun prelim fight. And then Gabriel Benz and Justin Janus are going to be fighting. I'm not familiar with these two fighters, to be honest with you.
Justin James? Dude, Justin James. This is what I remember about Justin James. I remember he was one of those guys who sometime this year, he got a short notice call up and then he wanted a first round and got a bonus for like a knockout bonus or something like this. He's one of those guys who I think he got like a 3-day notice fight, came in, won the first round and got a bonus. So that's always cool. We talked about that. That's a cool thing to happen with the bonuses when you see a guy like that. Basically comes up the couch, right? Doesn't have a UFC contract, gives him one a couple days, and then he gets that big $50,000 bonus. That's pretty awesome. Okay. His nickname is the Guitar Hero. Perfect. I can't find his I might have to put MMA in the Google search here. All right, there he is.
I do like Gabriel Benitez's nickname Mowgli. That's always a fun one because he likes the bare necessity. What? Sorry.
Stop.
Nope.
I can't find his Tapology. All right, whatever. Either way, I know he's lost his last fight, James, but he's a tough dude. He throws hard. Benitez, I don't know that well. Let me take a look. Maybe we'd be better at the show if we did more research, right? Yeah, okay. He lost 2 in a row. He's lost 2 in a row. His last one was in May. All right. It should be good. Should be fun. Sure. I'm sure it is, man. It always is. How many times do we say this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a whole lot about this guy. Then the next day, next to the show, we're like, that guy's my new favorite everything. Like, all the time. Because they do something else.
And that's the beauty of MMA, though.
It is.
It's the booty of MMA.
It is the booty of MMA.
That actually belongs to
Manarivas.
I was actually going to say, is it Macy Barber or Lacey Barber? Macy Barber. That is the ass of MMA. All day, every day, and
Ray has a new favorite female fighter every episode. He said,
"No. I'm slowly compiling my list of hottest women in MMA, and definitely Ashley Evans Smith has to be on that. My Dover 10 the queen of Yerixville, Ohio, which is my favorite line on the show so far.
Well, the thing, yeah, I mean, if you're from here, it makes sense. You look at her like, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, that would, yeah. If she was from here, that makes sense.
Because where's she from? Is she from
I don't know,
California?
California, I think, yeah.
Yeah, she's got that like California fucking like trash vibe where you're just like, yes, you are the attainable one in this town. Thank you for being you, ma'am. You are an amazing human being, and thank you for the hander outside the funny stuff. Or
if that's what you're looking for, Ray, come on down to T County. We'll find you one. You know, like I said, 8 kids with 9 dudes, but you know, if you want to be a stepfather, which at this point, we're in our 30s, man. Do we really have much of a choice?
I did a guest set last night at the Funny Stop with Vince Morris, who really funny guy. Vince Morris is fucking awesome. Go see him tonight at the Funny Stop and give him a follow. I'll be posting pictures to my Instagram.
I saw a picture. You were the token white guy. I saw that.
I was extremely the token white guy on it. The only other person, we also had Riley and Hezbollah do a set, which was cool. I haven't seen Riley in a while, so it's nice to see him. And Mickey Genosi was there. Vince, I talk about being white trash on stage. It's part of who I am. I'm proud of being a trash person at this point. Vince immediately was like, this was a very honest show. You didn't have to wonder. You could just look at him and say, oh yeah, white trash. Like, and I love Vince for that so much, dude. Like, he was, so go check out Vince Morris. He's got a Comedy Central special as well, which I believe is on Amazon for like 99 cents. So go pick that up. Vince is a great guy and hilarious fucking dude. So he had me rolling for two shows in a row, which I was happy about that. But yeah, the white trash thing is always there. Let's get into the main card. With you have Nate Landwehr. That's a weird name. Versus probably one of the most Bond villain MMA fighters on the planet in Mavzar Ivolov. Doesn't he look like the perfect guy? Like Ivolov looks like the kind of guy who would like tell you his plan right before he's about to dunk you into a shark tank. Like, I look at this guy and you see him. He's scary looking. I am not familiar. I think I'm familiar with Ivolov from a previous fight in the past couple of years, I believe. But like, Jesus, tap dancing Christ, these guys. And then when we said creative fighters earlier, Nate definitely looks like he was created by like somebody who really wanted to make themselves in a video game, which is always nice. Their records are.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
He like just jacked, like ripped. It looks like what you would make yourself look like at this weight class.
No, if I made myself, I would be the fat body, because that's even better than my actual one. So there's no like super heavyweight body.
No, sadly, I wish there was.
Unfortunately, yeah, right. Okay, so we're talking about our dude. I remember this dude. I remember when he fought Darren Elkins. Landwehr when he hit decision against Darren Elkins back in May, and before that he lost to Herbert Burns. This kid, this Bond villain kid, you're all right. He does look like a Bond villain. It's kind of funny. He's one of his first,
I expect you to die.
First 3 fights in the UFC by decision. I don't know much about him. I don't know. Is he a wrestler? Maybe. I'm just guessing because he's. I could be wrong, but he's winning by decision a lot. That doesn't mean much.
The reach is.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm telling you that I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, I like looking into these stats every once in a while just because of what they are, and they do matter a lot of times. You got a 5'9" guy in Nate Landwehr taking on Mavzar, who is 5'7", And the reach is, to quote the great Mike Goldberg, virtually identical, with a 72.5 reach advantage, or 0.5 reach advantage for Mavzar, which really, this is going to be one of those this won't be a negating fight, except for if Landor uses his actual body height against him at being 5'9". 2 inches can help you when it comes to slipping a punch. So that's always a nice thing if you can get a little bit further back than he can throw. I got our homeboy from the United States winning. Who you got?
I got the Russian, man. I was going to say that before you said that, so I'm not just trying to be a dick. We'll see, though, man. Who knows? I don't really know. I don't know what the line is on this. We should have did a better job with that, too.
Well, they didn't, like I said, they didn't have the line on the website. I looked on the website before I even pressed anything.
Well, we could have pulled another page up, Ray. That's on me, too. I could be doing that, but I'm not. Shoot. Oh, I was going to say, because after your bad Mike Goldberg impression, reminded me that I think there's a new favorite MMA broadcast team. Not MMA, excuse me, just combat sports broadcast team of all time. My favorite duo is now Mauro Ranallo and Snoop Dogg. I think that's the one thing we didn't talk about with that fight, the Tyson Jones.
Did you see the buy rate for that, by the way?
No.
2.4 million people tuned in to see Tyson versus Jones Jr. What?
That's unfortunate, because we know what's going to happen now. It's going to be all these old guys are going to be coming out of the woodwork to spar with each other for money.
You say that. Yep. Guess who's already trying to get into that game besides Evander Holyfield? Because he's been
Buster Douglas, who's like 100.
Buster Douglas, at 6 years old.
I don't want to see it, man.
Ohio's own.
Don't do it, man. Don't. Well, you know what? If you need the money, do it. Fine, I guess. But man, I really don't want you to do it. I'd rather start a GoFundMe for Buster Douglas if he needs money. He probably doesn't. He's probably doing okay.
I'm going to say that
your legacy right now, still, I like to think that it wouldn't affect his legacy. But there's so many people that are not even going to know who he is. Really, younger people are not going to really understand Buster Douglas.
Their parents teach him who he is.
No, you'd hope so, right? But that fight even happened when we were very young when that fight happened. You might not have even been born. No, it was like 91, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was 3.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't very old. So the point is, I wasn't aware of that fight until many years later. But the point is, I don't want people to think, if he gets knocked out, I don't want him to become a meme because he got knocked out. Mike Tyson, when his actual career, the thing that really counted is when he went to Japan and beat the unbeatable Mike Tyson. All right.
Yeah.
And he beat his ass. I might watch that fight again today just because we're talking about it. It's on ESPN Plus, I think.
Yes, it is.
However, the only thing I can see is in the front row, President Donald Trump and Don King sitting next to each other. It's the only thing I can look at. I'm like, God, those guys.
I can look at Trump. I can't look at fucking.
The thing is, I guarantee if you ask Trump about that fight, he would tell you that he knew Buster Douglas was going to win. I guarantee he says that. I guarantee it. Well, did you put money on it, man? I don't know.
That's how I paid for the Trump Taj Mahals, at least rent for 3 months. Is I won on Buster Douglas.
Well, what was it?
What?
What was the line again? It was like 40. Was it 40 something?
Yeah, it was like 4,500 or something. It was like
it's 45 the one, which would be like plus 4,500, which you don't see anything close to that anymore. You don't even see it in boxing, I don't think. I mean, even who was a really big one recently? Andy Ruiz, when he beat Joshua, he was an 11-1, and that's really big. 11-1 is pretty big, but that 40 or whatever, 38 or I forget what it was. It's crazy. But because you won, no one will never be that high again. I don't think.
No. Andy that was I wish to this day I would have put money on Andy Ruiz to win by knockout just as a joke.
He did say a bunch of his family won money because a bunch of them put like $1,000 on him.
I would have absolutely done that, and then just kind of gone into retirement, and you would have never seen my fat ass again because I would have like invested everything I had. But no, yeah, it's I think this is a good thing to a point. The fact that made 2.5 million buys or 2.4 million buys, which made it, by the way, the biggest box office for boxing this year.
It also tells you, man, like, okay, number one, a little bit of that was probably Jake Paul has such a big following on social media, so that's a big part of it too. Even though he's, I mean, he is a pro boxer, and he didn't look bad, but he's fighting a basketball player. Also,
and he's actually supposedly signed to fight. Oh God,
people
something
of boxing.
from the Sharks.
KSI.
No, I can't. I'd have to look the name up.
I thought he was going to fight KSI. His brother fought KSI.
Yeah. The Logan Paul one was actually I like that fight. That was interesting to watch. Kane, San Jose Sharks. There we are. Evander Kane, who's a goon for the I think right now he plays for San Jose in the NHL.
A goon, that's hilarious. I kind of want to see it. I won't pay for it, but I kind of want to see it.
I watched the video of Evander Kane when I heard that was a possible fight. Take on, I don't know how familiar you are with like modern hockey, but there's a guy who's 6'9" named Zdeno Chara. He plays for Boston. And this cat went after Zdeno Chara and just got walloped because it's a 6'9" dude, and he was just using those long ass arms.
Hockey fight, it'd be pretty tough to beat a guy in a hockey fight who's 6'9".
Oh,
if he gets a hold of your jersey, it's pretty much impossible.
My dog's losing his mind right now. Like something's trying to kill him, but he's there. It's probably my mom's home, which is fun. But man, I want to see more Jake Paul fights just because like. I watched.
Well, you're not gonna be able to get rid of him now. But it was funny when I heard he made like $200 or something. I don't know, so maybe it was 600. It was like it's basically like what he probably should have made, like anyone else would have made, and like his second pro fight.
And he's calling out like Jorge Masvidal. He's trying to get Conor McGregor. I don't see that shit happening. Jorge Masvidal apparently said that Yoel Romero should fight Jake Paul, which I would love to see now that Yoel is like out. Oh my God, I think Yoel would fuck his world up.
Askren too. I want to see Askren fight him, but I want him to see him fight him in MMA. Although I know what would happen. I kind of want it to happen. I want Ben Askren to just smother him so he has no chance of it, have no air, and just beat him up for 15 minutes. That's what I want him to do to him. Even though that'll probably be boring for most people, but that's what I would want him to do to him. That's what I want to see. I want to see him get smothered by a guy like Ben Askren. Even though he did wrestle a little bit, but Ben Askren is one of the best MMA wrestlers there are. So he would just completely smother the dude, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see him box him. I want to see him fight him in MMA and just take him down and just smother him.
I'm excited for it. I want to see more of them, and I'm gonna say this, man. It's gonna help these
whatever. Let me know when Screech and Macaulay Culkin are fighting.
I absolutely will, and I'll probably be the one booking it just for you, buddy.
Okay.
That'll be a dream book, and it'll be called Tim Danko's Wide World of Fights. That'll be everybody. I'll make that shit happen. But
we could probably make you versus Screech. Probably make that happen. You want to fight Screech?
Yeah, I'm down.
Probably do it for like.
I'll come out to the Saved by the Bell theme song. I don't give a fuck.
There you go.
I'll come out dancing. Just it's all right, you know.
He'll fight you for like $8,000 or so. I bet it's doable.
Probably.
It's doable.
Somebody get $8,000 and Dustin Diamond on the phone and some
Coke. Get him. Yeah. Anyway, set $5,000 in cash, 3 in Coke. Let's get it.
We can do it. You probably know some people down in Uricksville who can get you a deal.
I don't want Uricksville cocaine. You kidding me?
It's all meth. I understand.
It's possible.
But I want to talk about this fight because the next couple fights I'm not really familiar with a few of the guys. And OSP is back with his Von Prue choke in hand, taking on, I wish my computer was a little bit more, but Jamal Hall, Sweet Dreams, is going to be taking on OSP. What's your opinion on OSP?
I like OSP. Did he who did he beat in his last fight?
Let me look it up.
Let's look, everybody. Metafield. Yeah, dude, he knocked out Metafield. Yeah, people were wondering about him, and then he knocks out a tough dude like Metafield. Dude, he still got it, bro. I'm a little pissed he missed weight.
How much did he miss weight by?
I don't remember. A couple. I think a couple because he got fined 20%. So I think he was at like 207, I think.
Oh, okay.
So don't like that. But Jamal Hill had a draw in his last fight, but it just got overturned because of the weeds. You know what's funny? What doesn't help is that doesn't help because we had Andrew Law on and he's saying, dude, no serious fighter is going to actually smoke and then fight. You're not actually going to do that. You're a professional. Then freaking next week, Mike Tyson comes out and says, yeah, dude, I was high as fuck when I fought. Like, way to go, Tyson. You're going to fuck it up for everybody. You tell people that, people will be like, now we have to test for weed or else all these guys are going to. He shouldn't count. He's 100 years older, right? In fighter years, right? He's 54. It doesn't count, man. He's old and he's not under normal testing. Don't let the guys smoke weed and just hope that they're not going to start doing it when they're fighting. All right. Even if they do, that sounds awful. It sounds terrible.
Aren't there MMA fighters that do mushrooms before they fight or something like that?
Whatever. I don't care.
I think Rogan talked about he knows some guys that actually did like microdosing before they got into the cage, which is scary in its own right. Because, like, I'm such a weakling for psychedelics to begin with. I'd start seeing, like, spiders in the cage and trying to get out of it and shit, acting like Chris Colt in the 70s. So
that's what we're going to do when you fight Screech, man. We're going to hop you up on shrooms.
I would do it. And hand me a Miller Lite as I'm walking out to the thing, too, because I'll have some fun with it. Let's do it.
We'll do it.
Looking at you, Screech. I'm gonna have Mario Lopez in my corner. He's going to make fun of you, call you a loser.
Hill's pretty tough, dude, man. He's undefeated. He had that draw last time, which is now a no contest, but he I'm trying to look at his record and I can't find it. Again, that's what happens when we have common names, Ray. Makes things more difficult. I have to put MMA or okay, here we go. Here's his Tapology. Yes, sir. All right. Decision. All right. Okay. So he had 2 fights since the Contender Series. He won a decision against Darko Sosik. And he had that no contest draw in his last fight, which was in May. So he was St. Preux. This is a big step up for him, man, for sure. But the same thing was for Menafield. But St. Preux was able to stop Menafield. I think St. Preux still got it in him. I think he's going to win this fight.
I do too. I think OSP is definitely the more seasoned fighter. I mean, for God's sakes, the wars that he has had over the years, his fight with Jones, that was a pretty good fight. And then his development recently on the ground as well, doing a lot of Von Flue chokes, making that like his signature almost.
This may be my, you know what? I'm going to pick 2 underdogs. I'm picking Ovis St. Preux plus 140. He's an underdog, so I'm going to pick him because I feel like that's probably a decent pick. I'm surprised he's an underdog, to be honest. But I mean, Hill is tough for sure, but I think St. Preux still got fighting in him, man.
Me too. That's why I'm picking him. Is because I think honestly he's going to get into that third round, or I think it's going to go 3, but I think OSP is going to make it a show at the end.
OSP by murder.
OSP
heard it here first. Heard it here first.
By death.
Yes, by death. He's going to get it. By fatality.
Breaking news.
It's breaking news.
Death.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me something good.
OSP by death. That's right. And then we're going to ask you to explain your titty. That's right. Yeah. Enjoy it, guys. It's fun.
I just did. I just explained my titty. I told you I was going to win, and I told you why. Can we go to the main event now?
Yes, we can, sir.
It's the worst show on earth.
Just today, sadly. But I call that a hangover, and
I'm fine.
We are the worst podcast in the world. Yeah. We are the worst podcast in the world.
We are the worst. We are terrible. All right.
We make sure to make MMA the most boring and nerdy.
You ruined it.
Aw.
You had to rhyme. You had to rhyme. Terrible.
You know what, sir? No.
Unbearable. Yes.
Well, that's just what everybody thinks of me to begin with. Like, why are you just throwing out facts now? What do you get? What do you think of this fight? Jack Hermansson taking on Marvin Vettori. What's your thoughts on this, Timodenko?
Hermansson. Dude, these guys are both monsters, dude. You said, are you talking about a crazy Italian and a crazy dude from Norway? These guys are both certified fierily insane. This is the third opponent for this fight for Hermansson. He's just been sitting there waiting to figure out who he's going to fight. It was supposed to be Darren Till. Then it was going to be Kevin Highland. Now it's going to be Vettori. And these are all really great matchups. They're all great matchups. And Vettori is he's the favorite in this
Is
one.
he?
So I guess, yeah, it surprised me a bit. I'm going to pick Hermansson again. Hermansson, the underdog again, and pick Hermansson. He's plus 115, which is very small favorite, but he's still a favorite. Hermansson. I'm looking at his last few fights here. Oh, now it's going to be slow. Oh, here we go. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He that heel hook against Kevin Gastelum. That was really slick. I remember that, man. And no one puts away Gastelum that quickly, and he did. Before that, he lost to Cannonier, and then he had wins against Jacare, beast. David Branch, beast. Gerald Merchant. I just watched that fight. He had that guillotine choke. It's another tough dude. Yeah. He's so one. 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6. He's won. And he's fighting a tough dude in Vettori, who's also a dude who has a little bit of ground game too. I think he won his last fight by submission. Yeah, he beat Carl Robertson by rear naked choke. However, I don't think he's fought the dudes like Hermansson. I mean, he has fought Izzy, but Izzy beat him. He fought Izzy tough. That's what I forget. I didn't forget he had a split decision against Izzy. He had a tough decision against Izzy back in the day. That was back in 2018. However, and he's a good striker. I think Hermansson's a little bit better on the ground, although he can also strike, and he's a bit of a monster. I'm going to pick Hermansson, but this should be really fun. I mean, Vettori's nuts. I mean, they're both nuts, so this should be fun.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this night of fights, dude. Like, this is going to be one of those.
I want 5 rounds in blood and snot and guts and like swollen or orbitals. That's what I want.
Yes,
I want these guys to both look like zombies afterwards.
Yeah, I want at least a cheek or two busted open. And I want to see an eyebrow cut. If I don't see an eyebrow cut, I'm going to give it 5 stars out of 10.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'll feel like completely.
Who are you picking?
I am picking Jack Hermansson in this fight. Vettori is a savage. But I'm leaning towards our boy Jack Hermansson just because I think he's going to definitely have the advantage in this when it comes just down to being more of a savage, in all honesty. So I'm excited for it, man. Are you excited for tonight's fight, sir?
I'm excited, Ray. Can you tell?
We're both excited. I have to poop. So
wow, way to ruin the show.
No, I've done that many times today, so that's fine. What's one more? But Tim, you have any other stories to talk about? Or?
Not really.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty. I don't like TJ Dillashaw. Did I ever tell you that? His suspension's coming up, and he's telling people that he wants a title shot right away. And what's his name? Peter Yan said, "Wait in line, cheater," which is pretty funny because he's a cheater and he should wait in line.
I think I sent you that photo of him winning the PED championship.
Yeah, the EPO championship. Yeah,
the EPO championship.
Yeah, I hope whoever fights him next beats the fuck out of him. Fuck that guy. EPO serious, man. Fuck that guy. Weed, don't care. EPO, that's a problem. Don't fucking do that, cheater. Fuck you. I hope you never win again.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, it's good chances, but maybe I shouldn't say that. But I hope he gets fucked up in the next fight. I won't say that.
Well,
does it?
We are going to end this episode because I decided to eat something spicy today, and it is
Ray.
not enjoying being there.
Gotta be smarter than that, Ray.
So for everybody that watched today, we appreciate you. Sorry you had to watch us trudge through stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed the video of the gentleman hitting the referee. That discussion is in the beginning of the episode on the video. And you can watch along with it as well on audio version. The audio version comes out next week. We're going to have one more episode, and then I'm going to do a mega upload afterwards to Anchor FM. So that'll go to Spotify, all those places. We would like to say, everybody, thank you for watching. For Tim Danko,
talking about the UFC unbearable. We are the worst.